Hi. Seems like ages since I've been on here. I know it's a while. Um, I've called this little video clip back to basics, but I do these in a little office that I've got at home. I've turned my son's bedroom into an office. Don't worry, he's moved out. Although you wouldn't know it, he's around all the time. But it's interesting. I was just about to start this article and this little thing, and I don't know if you can see that. There's a picture of a little girl called Grace, who I was fortunate enough to meet. Um, Everyone said she was like a little angel, which she was. She was on Children in Need this year. But she had a disease called Neiman's Pick, horrible disease. And this is a magazine they bring out. I write for them sometimes. This is my latest article on fear. I'm not sure if you can see this on here, but it's a little article I wrote for them. Little picture of me there. So that just threw me a little bit looking down and seeing Grace. That makes you realise how lucky you are as well. Fantastic. If anyone wants to, if anyone's looking for charities out there to help, Neiman Pick is it's an amazing charity. I'll just put the name there so you can see it. I know that's in reverse there, but Neiman Pick. They do some amazing work. It's a horrible disease. They do some fantastic work. My friend Steve Neal does a lot with them. I do a little bit of stuff with them. But what I wanted to talk about today, I haven't been on here for a while, was getting back to basics. Because one of the things that I took from being in California, I'm always looking for new things, but I find it hard to find new things because there's not a lot of new stuff out there, a lot of new messages. There's rehashed stuff and people saying things, old things in different ways. But one of the big things that I took from California, and I've been thinking about it a lot, was just how basic life was while we were there. It was amazing. We'd done some amazing things, but we lived a quite basic lifestyle. In bed really early. I'm talking about 8 or 9 o'clock every night. I was probably awake at 4:30 a.m. every day. Probably be on the road by 6 most days. Food wise, really basic, not many carbs, very little sugar, if any, no alcohol. So food was really basic, but I've got to say that I never felt so good. I only watched near the end of the break. We turned the television on to watch England's game in the World Cup. But apart from that, no television, didn't see a newspaper. My phone I turned on every now and again, but not very often. So most of the time we were without phones, up in the mountains and things like that. And I know we can't always live like that. I get that, but it just brought it home to me how sometimes, and I see this a lot with clients, getting back to basics is sometimes all we need to do. We all know the answers, but doing it can be really hard. So since I've came home from California, I've been meditating every day, first thing in the morning. I'm back on that. Stuff that I've done before, but I haven't been consistent with it. So I'm getting consistent with it and I'm really enjoying it. I've been in the gym most mornings really early, training with my friend Danny Grundy. We did a weight circuit with Joe Sheriff this morning, which was a killer. My body's aching, but I love it. So I've changed the way I train. I'm getting up early every day. It's stuff that I've done before, but just getting back to basics, meditating, getting my nutrition right, sleeping, exercise, all of those basic things. I always say things that the answers are simple, but they're not always easy to do. And I know not everyone can do this, but well, I guess that's to some extent we probably can. We probably can. Had some big debates recently about nutrition, which for me is massive, really important. I don't always get it right, so I'm saying that's why I'm going back to basics. Also, I guess what's come up for me, I saw the question today on Facebook as well. Someone was asking what's most important, your mind or your body? Which one do you have to get right first? And for me, they're both massively important. But I use the sort of analogy of a car. You can have the best car in the world, but you need somebody to drive it, which for me is the mind. You can strengthen your mind through meditation, doing positive thinking, visualization, loads of different ways of strengthening your mind. one of the other ways you can strengthen your mind by actually working through your body as well, getting your nutrition right, getting your exercise right. Those things strengthen your mind as well. But for me, if I had to pick one, the most important thing is your mind, working on your mind. Because if my mind's right, whatever that is for you, then I want to exercise. I want to get my nutrition as close as possible to, for making me feel good. One of the best advices I ever heard on nutrition was, it was got from a guy called Anthony Robbins, who was a big life coach. He said when he first, when he made his first £1,000,000, he always struggled with his weight. So he went to see three of the top dietitians in the USA. And he said he came away after seeing all three of them more confused than when he started. So he decided that he was going to go his own way with it. So if he ate some food and he felt crap, he realised that that food wasn't good for him. If his body felt clogged, he realised that food wasn't good for him. If he ate food and he felt good, energised, then he would stick with that food. And I find that's quite a simple way of looking at things, and I don't think it's always that simple, but it's not a bad way of looking at things either. I know, for example, if I have a curry and a beer on a Saturday night, it might be really nice, but I know the next morning that my body feels clogged. So my body is telling me that that food is not good. I mean, so I'm not telling people what to do, and never do. You do what you want. Eat all the curry and beer that you want to eat. But, sometimes we have to listen to our body. So that's what the message that I wanted to give today was, just get back to basics. If your life sort of feels like it's a little bit out of kilter, get back to basics. Don't look for fancy techniques. Just get back to basics. Diet, nutrition, meditation, the monitoring your thoughts, positive thinking, all of that type of thing. And that's the message that I wanted to get out there today. But appreciate anybody's feedback, and hopefully look forward to hearing from you soon. And keep putting stuff on this page, guys. I know it's down to me, and I've been a bit slack on it recently, but like I said, I've been doing a lot of reflecting on my California trip. Okay, thank you. Have a good weekend.